It finally took me about 6 months to figure out how to say that last name, but Keziah is his name, and he goes by Coach K. And not the coach from Duke, but Coach K, Jeff Keziah. We're glad to have him. He came from Charlotte yesterday, and Charlotte, North Carolina. And good to have him with us today. And he has been a coach to players, a minister to men, and now he shares his message with you guys like you all across the country. So we're glad to have him tonight. Coach, you come on and share with us.
Woo! Well, it's awesome to be in Andalusia, Alabama. I understand that Andalusia is the heart of South Alabama. Yeah. And I was asked by a man a number of years ago. I had a chance to be a chaplain in the NASCAR industry with a ministry called Motor Racing Outreach. They said if Jesus Christ showed up in the flesh on a given Sunday, what church would he visit? And I was thinking about the largest church in Charlotte, but it's going to be my answer. But instead, the individual I was being mentored by said, you know what? He might end up at a local park ministering to a single mom or a hurting man who's down and out. Maybe lost his job, lost his health, maybe lost his hope. Yeah. And I think if Jesus Christ came to South Alabama on a Thursday night, this is exactly where he'd be. Because this is the heart of God. These fellows feed you a great steak dinner. Let's give it up for our cook.
How about that?
I had a chance
to pray with the cook earlier and just thank him for his effort to go out there and do that. And that's fantastic. I know he does it on a regular basis, but I hope you guys certainly appreciate it. And obviously the Ironworks staff and hosting this once a month. I've been looking forward to this for a long, long time. I've had the privilege to go to 42 different states, and this is one of the most exciting venues I've been anticipating. It's an honor to be with you tonight. So Andalusia is the heart of South Alabama. I would say Ironworks certainly touches the heart of God. Now listen, I'm a former coach, so tonight you heard some coaching analogies. And I was asking the guys, as I travel the country and speak in conferences, the groups of 25, the groups of 2,500, and all in between. Typically they may assign a topic. Hey, our guys really need to hear about this particular subject. Or they may say, hey, give us your top 3 topics that people respond well to, and we'll pick one of those. These guys said this: you don't need another sermon, you need another story. And I'm a storyteller, so we're going to tell you a story tonight. For God is the ultimate hero, and hopefully you'll apply this to your own life. So there's a card on your table that's designed for guests to fill out. It's a connection card. So maybe you can fill this out before. As I walk through our presentation tonight, I want to talk about our life is like a book filled with many chapters. I want to walk you through some chapters in life and some life lessons. I just turned 60 years of age, and I'll conclude tonight with the 6 most important lessons that I've learned in 6 decades of living. But along the way, I'll share some practical steps about getting my first car, my first date, our first child that was born. Those are all monumental experiences, and we as men should chronicle that. And so that'll be coming down the pipeline. So I want to encourage you, as you finish your meal, to grab one of these cards and just give me your name on the outside of it. And then the other information is found there that's optional for you. But on the back, I'm going to give you a chance to interact tonight. And I'm going to say at the end of chapter 1, now listen, I want you to put one word beside the number 1. One word beside the number 2. So I'd love for you to participate. It'll be a time of reflection, to take inventory in your own life as you hear us. We'd love to be interactive with you. Now, as I said, I was a former coach. Enjoyed being a part of 4 state championships. Hey, where's my baseball player from Andalusia here tonight? Somebody pointed him out already. Stand at the wheel. We got a state champion in the house. Let's give it up for him. So congratulations to you. We had a chance to be a part of 2 state championship baseball teams in our high school coaching career. One in soccer and one in basketball. So it's great to be around people that want to compete at the highest level. Now we coach men in the game of life. And so the theme for our time this evening is winning in the game of life. And we all want to see it be a winner. And so there's some factors that go into that situation. Just like when they gave me a couple of dates. Coach, you come in August, you come in October, you come in December. I said, you know where I like to come? I like to come down there in August. Because you know what, we're getting ready to kick it off. Yeah. As you can see, I'm a Clemson Tiger. Now, I know you guys love Dabo, and I've already had several conversations with you. When the Sabernator hangs it up, you know, Mama's going to come call him. A couple of you told me you got loads of money. You keep that, give that money to Ironworks, okay? Because we're going to keep Dabo in our neck of the woods. We're going to play tug of war with him. He'd be the only Bear Bryant that comes to Washington. Come be the next Bear Bryant or the Sabernator down here. So we're glad to see the Sabernator sign for 5 more years. But listen, who was the last team to come and take that flag at the top of the hill from him? My main man right here, Deshaun Watson, okay? A generation quarterback. Last year, Deshaun Watson wasn't there. So the Sabernator puts 8 guys in the box and says, Kelly Bryant, I know you can't beat me with your arm, so beat me with your feet. And your solid defense obviously shut us down. 10-3, we were struggling at halftime. Then a couple of those flip turnovers after the second half began, and that's all you needed, and you were off to the races. And so anyway, congratulations on another national championship. But guess what? It's a new day, it's a new season, and we're both ranked 1 and 2. But you know, preseason polls don't mean anything. You got to go earn it on the field, right? So we'll see what happens. And so we're looking forward this year, and best wishes to your team. Now we got some War Eagles in the house. We got some Seminoles I saw out there. We got any Gators around here? Everybody over here. All right, got a Gator. Good to have Alex in the house. Alex been out, okay? Good to have him here for the good time. And anyway, I was encouraging some of you guys to wear your gear to show your loyalty. When I speak to men, I like to find out who's in my locker room. And so there are 5 generations of men in our culture. And I'm a student of sociology that really applies to what we're striving to see accomplished, to see men win. The title of our ministry is The Intentional Way with Coach K. And so we're striving to be intentional with coaching men in the game of life. So I need to find out what generation you represent. I introduced myself to quite a few of you outside. Try to give an attaboy as you come to the line. You enjoy that steak dinner. And you tasted and seen that it was good. Now let's taste and see that the Lord is good. Amen. But I want to find out where you're coming from. So I know some of your athletic loyalties because of what you've worn. And I kind of got a good estimation on what these 5 generations look like. But let's have everybody in the house go through this process. If you were born between 1925 to 1945, would you stand? Our first generation is the builder generation. 1925 to 1945. Just stand momentarily, please. There's got to be more than this. 1925 to 1945. Okay? All right, if you guys, let's give it up for these folks. Okay? These guys are part of the radio generation. Okay? It was pretty low tech back in their days. But I've heard stories from those in my own family. They listened to the Green Hornet, you know, and Jack Benny shows, other things like that. That was their entertainment of choice, was the radio generation. They went through the Depression era. Big band music was important to them. Pearl Harbor was their major national event. And their money perspective was to save it now. Their family experience was very close-knit, single-income family where dad was the breadwinner. That's the builder generation, and they're called the builders because they made this country great. So, gentlemen, thanks for being here tonight. Yeah. Give it up for your senior adults and the old age workers. I'm part of the second generation. We were born between 1946 and 1964. All my baby boomers, would you stand momentarily? 46 to 64. We graduated to TV and moving into technology. It began to be the hippie era. Rock and roll music began to be very popular on 8-track tapes. Our previous generation were listening to records. Hey man, we got real fancy with those 8-track tapes. I don't know about you, man. I was driving across the railroad track, we'd jump tracks to the next song. So you didn't always keep it tight, it wasn't digital. The Kennedy assassination was a major national event. Our money perspective was to buy it now, instead of saving it now. Our family experience was a dispersed family, and most of the time, mom worked. It was a dual income family as living standards were raised, and people were looking to see more than just one breadwinner in the household. That's the second generation, which was a very large contingency of the group here tonight. The third generation, born between 65 to 79. Would you guys stand, please? 65 to 79. These are the Gen Xers. They introduced the Commodore 64 to us. They began to roll out a little bit more technology, alternative music on cassette tapes. They went past the 8-track era and put cassettes out there. The Challenger disaster was their major national event, and their money perspective is we want it now. Their family experience, divorce began to show up on their shores, and as a result, a lot of single parents raised kids, which ended up with a lot of fathers' wounds with this generation. And so that's a crucial aspect when you study cultural manhood, to see that from the Gen X. 65 to 79, our third generation. Now, some places that I go to, we don't have any representation of the next two, but I believe you've got some of each of the categories. The fourth generation will be the millennials, born between 80 and 95. But all the millennials stand, please. All the millennials. I saw quite a few of them here tonight with some good news. These guys went beyond the computer and gave us the internet. It was a transitional era. They began to offer alternative music on compact discs. 8 tracks were jumping across railroad tracks. Cassettes would get all wound up. So let's go even higher with digital music, and obviously offered up in the CDs. Their money perspective was to get it now. Their major national event was 9/11. And this generation continued to see more and more of a looser structure in the family unit. A lot of broken homes took place. So the father's wound got deeper for the millennials. And sociologists, as they study this particular group, they missed the point coming back into, as I'll say tonight, when men get it right, everybody wins. And men weren't getting it right with these particular individuals, and they were coming up in a lot of places, not necessarily individually, but across the board in this country that we live in. Then there's a few guys here tonight, some of them in the extra room. The fifth generation is Gen Z, born from 1996 to 2012. Where's my Gen Z guys, my teenagers? Let's welcome these teenagers here tonight. 12 was the youngest age that I've polled thus far outside. Anybody younger than 12 here tonight? Okay. My 3 senior adults. Which one of you guys is the oldest? Anybody over 80? Okay. How old are you, sir? Tell us your tiger.
No, me?
Yes, sir.
82.
82. Anybody be 82? All right, so 12 to 82. Let me get my 82-year up here for a second. Where's my 12-year-old? I got a couple. Let's get this gap. Come on, here's 12. So here's our span of ages tonight. A 70-year, 7-decade span. We're talking the 12-year-olds in Generation 5, which is Gen Z. What are his characteristics? He's gone beyond the internet to the digital generation. Social media and smartphones, that's the only thing he's ever known. You know what a legal pad, by the way, is? This long yellow thing around the middle of those papers. He don't know what a legal pad is. That's right. He said it's longer than a CVS receipt. It's a legal pad. So that's good. His money perspective, he wants to lose it now. Okay? He don't want to save it like this generation. That's good. Hey, good for you. Let's give that shot. And obviously the family experience, his generation, you know, all these gender identity issues. Can you believe you live a day in this country where in my state of North Carolina, the politicians are deciding who can go into what bathrooms. So this gender identity it creates a lot of troublesome times for this young man, cultural manhood. And so as he looks to long to engage in the journey to biblical manhood, he's got to eliminate all the confusion of society and follow a path that some of you, including from the top down, need to set the pace on. So from 12 to 82, that's who's in the locker room tonight. All 5 generations. And it's good to be able to meet you guys at all 5 levels. Let's get up for these 2 specifically. I was part of the baby boom generation. I was born on November 10th, 1957. Where's my 57 Chevrolets here tonight? Any of my baby boomers born in 57? Stand up and join me if you will. The class of 57. All right. What month were you born in, brother? December, just after me. Very good. So that 57 Chevrolet, that's the hot part of that day. We're coming home from the hospital. and having a chance to participate. And very early on, that was one of the most impressionable things. So your first question is coming up. You get your card ready. We're going to write this down in just a few moments. About your earliest memory as a boy. And my earliest memory as a boy, my father was born in North Carolina. My mother was born in South Carolina. She grew up on a farm in a small town called Loris, South Carolina. You guys ever been to Myrtle Beach? About 25 miles inland from Myrtle Beach is a town called Loris. That's where my grandparents' farm was. My mother went to a school that's a spitting image of this old schoolhouse. Our family reunions would happen on Thanksgiving at the Beulah Baptist Church and the Beulah Schoolhouse. So when I heard I was going to have a chance to come and speak to you fellows, I thought, wow, this is like going back to the old homestead. And the building is very, very simple. But that was a totally different time as my grandfather raised his family on the farm in South Carolina. My dad was in Charlotte, and his hobby and interest was racing. As you know, that's some of the things we have in common. You guys in Alabama love your barbecue, you love your college football, and you love your racing. Those are things we all enjoy. And so a lot of you guys follow Dale Earnhardt. You know, we compete on the barbecue, we compete on the college football scene, but a lot of you have adopted. I've never been to Talladega, it's on my bucket list as a race fan. And so, but when I was a young boy, at the age of 2, my earliest memory is we were down visiting my grandparents in coastal South Carolina, and we stopped at the Darlington Raceway, the oldest track on the NASCAR circuit in 1950. It preceded Daytona by 9 years. And my dad took us around that 1.38 mile on our 57 DeSoto automobile, doing about 85 miles an hour. No seat belts. I'm standing up in the front seat saying, "Get it, Daddy, get it." I can still see us going into the bank turns. My mother's about to have a heart attack, and me as the oldest of 3 children, just myself at the time, I was excited because my dad was taking me on an adventure. And that's one of the things that men are designed for. We're designed for adventure. So my dad wasn't a fisherman. He wasn't a hunter. I know the outdoors is big for you. My dad served up racing. He served up World War II movies. And he served up hiking trips. So we enjoyed the outdoors and experiencing it in that particular fashion. But my earliest memory as a boy with my father was at the Darlington Raceway taking a lap, saying, "Daddy, get it." When I say this, tell this story, that flashback comes in my mind. Standing up, anxious for my dad to move it up to about 100 miles an hour. And so that's your first answer tonight as you follow me with your impressions. So we're going to take a walk down memory lane tonight. You'll see how this comes together at the end. What is your earliest impression as a boy? We moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in the 3rd grade from Chattanooga, Tennessee. The reason we moved is my mother started out as a spiritual leader of our family. And that's the norm in a lot of particular homes. My dad was one of those guys that kind of hit the time clock. Sunday belonged to God, but Monday through Saturday belonged to Him. He did not live in light of eternity. He lived what was important to Him. But his testimony became this: God put me on a different track to run a different race. As while I was a track champion at Rockingham, he actually got a ride, as we say in racing, to be at the Southern 500. Instead, God came and showered him with His amazing grace, and his life totally changed around. But in those early years, he knew God, but he wasn't following after God. My mother set the tone. She was the one taking me and giving me a chance to be exposed to the things of God. But things began to change in the 2nd grade as I saw my dad begin to really, as was shared earlier tonight musically, a soul set on fire. See, as I've traveled the country to 42 states, I've been to 7 foreign countries, I long to see men drawn to the fire. That is on God's watch. I get to be an observer tonight and watch God do His work. Some of you guys came in tonight needing some hope. Some of you got some hurts need to be healed. Some of you are unchurched, de-churched. Don't let some of us that are church scare you off. Hey, I'm just a reverend, y'all. I'm not a holy judge. Okay? We don't get it all right. And you'll hear some of that being shared tonight. And so as a result, we're glad to gather in schoolhouses like this and say, guys, guess what? The Christian life is a series of new beginnings. We can reboot that computer tonight if you're the younger generation and you're into tech. Or we go take the next qualifying lap and to see what God wants to reveal to us along the way. I saw that happen in my dad's life, and so things began to change. He began to follow Jesus Christ in a wholehearted fashion. We moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee for him to take ministerial training. And while I was there, I began to play Little League Baseball. Where's my Little League Baseball guys out here? We all did that back in the day. Most of us anyway. That was my first team experience. Your second question tonight in taking life inventory is, what was the first team experience? That could be the scouts for you. You don't have to be athletics. Most of the time that team or group experience will be involved in athletics. But the old not whole league really was a predecessor to the Little League. In 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, to go to practice with some of my buddies, begin to share the journey of life on the baseball field, and it was fantastic. We had a guy who was a former professional boxer that was our coach. He and his son came out there and ran practices, had a tremendous experience. And that was my first athletic opportunities. My parents wanted me to go get involved. We were going to get off the couch. No couch potatoes when I was growing up in the 60s. You had to find some avenue to go get plugged into. And so Little League Baseball, the old not Little League, was that complete. And that team experience was fantastic. Once my dad completed his ministerial training, we moved to a place called Hiawassee, Georgia. Now back in those days, North Georgia wasn't popular as a recreational area. It was just strictly a residential space for really a farming community. But it's just exploded. North Georgia is a real popular place. Maybe some of you vacate there. A lot of folks in the south like to go up into the Blue Ridge Mountains. We live out there at the state line of North Carolina and Georgia for 1 year in Hiawassee. Had a chance to experience that. One of the memorable experiences during that chapter of my life was going to the county fair. They didn't have those in Chattanooga because they had a music park called Lake Winnepesaukah. The bigger cities, they had more permanent thrill rides. But in those little smaller communities, when the fair would come, usually in the fall of the year, here's all the agricultural displays, but a chance for us to go ride some of those rides and experience that for a week. Man, we looked at that. Especially those games where you put, back those days it was a dime, not a quarter, but even more so now it's $1. And just have a little bit of fun on the midway. So my third question for you is, what was your first either amusement park and or county fair? Where were you living? What was that experience like? You had a chance to go experience some fun. Because you see, there are guys out there that live in this world that think to become a follower of Jesus Christ, I got to park all the fun at the door. And that's absolutely false. God wants us to take that DNA He's given to us. We're going to take hunting and leverage that for the kingdom of God. I'm going to use college football. I take guys down. I'm a season ticket holder in Death Valley, South Carolina. We take guys with us to these football games for the ministry of hanging out. So they can see we're just regular Joes. When I take guys who are unchurched, they often say when they come back, hey, coach, I almost didn't come today. I said, why's that, Les? He said, I thought you boys might be singing Kumbaya Home. He said, man, you had me coach the linebackers? Because I'm the defensive coordinator. There's 4 of us that go. So I have a buddy that I've invested a lot of time with one-on-one to mentor. He's the offensive coordinator. He's a Clemson alum. I didn't went to school there, but they're just my uncle did, so I have affinity for them. I'm the defensive coordinator. So if you go with me as my guest, now listen, last year, Chris Goldberry from Lifeway Men, he's an Auburn grad. I invited he and his son to go. So they were there here. Go cheer for your team. If some of you are coming with us to play in our place. By the way, we signed a deal with LSU. We're going to talk about LSU Tiger 82 while ago. We're going to find out what the real Death Valley. Now those guys claim this, by the way. The answer has already been settled. Okay? We had the original Death Valley. They tried to hijack this thing. They really had DEAF because of the decibels it was called Death Valley. But the more popular moniker was Death Valley, so they tried to play tug of war. But they're going to schedule this home and home to see what happens. That'll be fun for the fans. But you see, God does not want us to take the fun out of life. He just wants to come and join us in the fun. Amen. And some of the most wonderful times I have are at football games, on hiking trips, and just enjoying God's goodness. I went over to, you guys ever been down to the Naval Air Museum in Pensacola? Everybody done it before? If you're a history lover, start to take advantage of that. My dad and I used to build model airplanes coming up. He was in the Navy, the Korean War, so he taught me to have an appreciation. In fact, let me have all my veterans stand. I always like to acknowledge those guys. I want to salute them. All the veterans. All right. So I never served in the military. I was in those between years. But I have a high appreciation. In fact, what's on my bucket list, I would love to get to the beaches of Normandy next year for the 75th anniversary. I want to salute the grave of a man named Truman Kimbrough. If I ever get a chance to come back and speak to you guys, I'm going to tell you Truman Kimbrough's story. It's a story that every American needs to know. But I'd love to get over there, just walk the beaches in Normandy and think about what's going on. You don't know the story about the Bedford boys. We're going to read the book this summer on their investment. 19 men in the first landing craft on Omaha Beach from a little small town in Bedford, Virginia, gave their lives in the first 19 minutes. And because per capita, a little town of 2,000, about the size of, how do you pronounce this town here, Florala? Is that what I said? I said you about that size? So imagine 22 guys land on the beaches of Normandy. 19 are in Company A, the first landing craft. They get taken out in the first 19 minutes. It wasn't like Saving Private Ryan for them. Saving Private Ryan was a very accurate depiction according to all World War II participants. But these guys, in the first landing craft, the naval bombardment, because of a sky like today, created a lack of really being taking some of those pillboxes out. So they were not being shot at when the craft landed on the shore. Once they got up to the beach, then it was a shooting gallery because they were the only team in town. Then obviously as the invasion continued, then all literally hell broke loose. But the story of the Bedford boys, a very, very inspirational story. They were just National Guardsmen, weren't planning to be some big, war heroes, but they drew the short straw and landed the first day. I like to be able to think about their memories. Some of them are buried over there, some of them are buried in Virginia. So there's a national D-Day memorial in Bedford, Virginia. But I think about that and the dad's influence in that regard. So again, whether it be fun or a chance to relive history, those are crucial aspects to be involved in. Then we move to my favorite place, which is your next question. Growing up, sometime as a boy up until your high school years, what was a favorite place? Now, some of you have never moved to this your hometown, so that's an easy question. But some of us have moved around different places. What was your favorite location in childhood and growing up? Mine was in Statesville, North Carolina. We moved from Hiawassee, Georgia to Statesville, a town about 40 miles north of Charlotte, 6th grade through the 11th grade. Played another season of Little League Baseball, got into middle school, junior high, it was called back in those days, the high school era, and I began to see some really neat things happen, and just really, really enjoyed. Got my driver's license, having a chance to, take Dad's car out. You didn't get your own car back in those days right off the gate. It was on down the road. And that would happen in the next chapter I'm going to tell you about. But my dad, when they built a house for the family, he built a driveway that had a backup section that was the size of like a nice basketball court. About the size of this area right here. If you did half court up there where you guys are this far, we had a section of concrete like that. So we'd go out there and play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 fantastically. That's why it made it so fun. Then we had mini bike trails back in the woods. So we had a chance to get on the bike, we had a chance to get out and play some hoops. And those 5 years in that house, that was my favorite experience growing up. I go back to Statesville occasionally. I drive by the old house. There's still the concrete out there. But there's nobody playing hoops today. They're inside playing games. And so that was another thing about getting in the outdoors. See, either official, organized activities with local teams, but then you also, man, you made it up as you went along. And then we chased the old, they come by and spray them. They do that back in these days. It's not, environmentally sensitive these days. They bring the bug guy come by. He spray that fog, those mosquitoes. If you don't spray that time, on back to the lodge where I'm staying, it's help them, We get our bikes out there, we ride behind that guy, just breathe that DDT stuff. No wonder some of these diseases come out of the pipeline. But that was fun, man. We're looking for an adventure, okay? That was fantastic. But I'm pretty sure my dad allocated some time and effort to give us a hoop in our backyard. What was your favorite place that you ever lived? What memory does that jog? Now, some of you, some of these questions I'm asking is not applicable. You know why? Because you got a father's one. You experienced a divided family. You got shipped around to different families. So I'm going to come to you at the end and let you see a conclusion about that. But somewhere along the way, including this next chapter, hopefully will ring the bell for you if you're still waiting to take inventory. And in my senior year of high school, we moved from Statesville to Charlotte. And that's where I got my first car. I had an uncle who had a 6-figure salary, and that was kind of unheard of. It was really almost like a 7-figure salary today. The year was 1974. He had a 62 Galaxy 500 XL. Aqua blue, like my Florida Gators shirt over there, right? And the little aqua colors. And he had those gold colors for the kitchen appliances. But aqua was a popular color back in the 60s. So my uncle had bought it brand new, driven it a decade, sitting out there, still got good mileage. Man, those nice bucket seats. Man, you can put a whole team of people up there in those 2 bucket seats, And fantastic. So now he could have given me the car. He didn't need my money, but he wanted to teach me one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned as a young man. He said, I'm going to sell you this car. He got a composition book. Where's 12? Where's 12 go? Over here. Hey, 12. You know what a composition book is? You'll use those in school, the spiral-bound notebooks? Okay, good. So, he tore out a page, and he wrote up a contract. First installment, I got 6 months that paid him $125. Man, the sweat started dripping off me like it is in this room tonight. $125, where am I come up with that? But you know what? He want to set a goal for me. He want to see me achieve that. He want to see me earn that. So my first job, pay a minimum wage, I got to get $125 at the 6 months mark. Then I had 6 more months to pay the second installment. $250 for a 1962 Ford Galaxy XL. What was your first car? Why don't you write down the card and let us know what that is. Now I'm going to go through all the generations and we're going to see what this looks like, okay? 82 LSU Tiger. What was your first car?
1954 Ford.
54 Ford. What's the color?
Blue.
Blue. Good job. All right. Give me somebody from my generation. Give me another baby boomer. What was your first car right here?
63 Ford Galaxy, black.
Oh, okay. You're after me. Good job. Hey, did you ever have any problem with the reverse bands?
No.
The 62, the reverse bands would go out.
Yeah.
So after I paid that thing, I'm so proud of it, man. I'm in good shape. That's a showroom car for me. I'm watching that baby. I'm ironing, polishing it, Always put STP on the tires. I don't like the car that's got dull black wheels. Give me some sharp looking wheels, So, well, the reverse bands went out. So when I go down to the local, we have Walmart back in those days, there's a place called Woolco. We had to park way out there, somebody park in front of it. Because it wouldn't go in reverse. And everywhere he went, you had to kind of negotiate. And I can't get trapped right here. It's going to be difficult. So those reverse bands, they had a little manufacturing issue. I told my uncle, actually, you wore those reverse bands out and then sold me the limits what you did. But he did give me a good lesson now. All right, let's see the third generation of guys. Give me a Gen X or a 65 to 79. What was the first car? Somebody shout it out.
72 Buick LeSabre.
72 Buick LeSabre. All right, man. How'd you parallel park that baby, right? Yeah. Well, wasn't as bad as those one with the fins on the 60, but that wasn't too far about it. So, what color was it?
Green.
All right, good job. Now, millennials. See, you see there's a gap in time with when we were born and the age of the vehicle. It's going to change these next 2 generations. One of the millennials here tonight, tell me what your first car was. Shout it out.
1983 Ford LTV.
Okay, that's all right. That's the throwback. Okay. How much you pay for it?
$100.
Hey, man. I need to come talk to your uncle. But I need to run. How long did you have the car?
Until I loaded the engine about 6 months later.
Well, that the engine's fault or the operator's fault?
Oh, it was mine. It was a new engine, $5,000 on the engine.
Oh, wow. All right, good job for you. And then finally, now some of these guys are below driving, so they'll be still looking for the first car. Where's 12 go to? Hey, 12? Where'd you go, 12? Is anybody else in here? Where are the teenagers? 2 or 3 stood up in here, 12. Where are the guys for teenagers? Here we go. Here. Okay. What's your dream car? Your first car, what are you looking for?
No, I got a 1995 Jeep Wrangler with it.
A 95 Jeep Wrangler?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good job. Okay. Already picked out?
No, I've already got it.
Oh, you already got it, okay. How much you get for it?
4,000.
4,000. Okay, that's still pretty affordable. Good for you. Great job. So, hey, first car. It's your ride. Okay? That's your stuff. You have a chance to experience it. But I really appreciate my uncle teaching me that lesson to say, listen, you'll enjoy this a lot more long term if you earn the $250. We need some more uncles like that today, guys.
That's right, man.
We need some more uncles to teach these guys some really practical lessons as we go through life. Well, chapter 6, I go off to college. And when I graduated from high school, there wasn't really a go-to guy in my life. I was longing, you know, I had good experiences on teams growing up and things of that nature, but in those particular years, a lot of hostilities were going on in our country with all the various things that were taking place, the protests, the riots, whatever, so it kind of fractured society. And so, slim pickings for me were guys that had a similar worldview. Now again, for you unchurched guys, that doesn't mean we're better than you, but along the way, we need to establish a worldview and to set some principles down and desire to see how we can grasp those and go forward. But I go off to college and got made up with a shortfall when I met a roommate from Mesquite, Texas, rodeo capital of the world. I went through your old location for your conference over here at the Covington Arena, nice little rodeo arena. Well, Mesquite, Texas has the Granddaddy Mall. You ever been to the Mesquite Rodeo out there in the Dallas area? Okay, good. And so that's where my college roommate was from. I'll see him in a couple weeks. Clemson's playing Texas A&M. I asked the Lord, Father, you tell us in your word, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Now, I'd like you to order me to Texas that second week of September. I'll take a men's breakfast somewhere down near College Station on Saturday morning so I can go see my Tigers play. And Proverbs 28:20, gentlemen, says, a faithful man will abound with blessings. Yeah. I said, Lord, I'll go to the schoolhouse in August, you know, and get those SEC boys up and running for the fall. But listen, if I can go to Texas and hang out with my lifelong friend of over 40 years, my foxhole friend. I wasn't a military guy, but I appreciated foxhole friendships. As I coach men in the game of life, one of the reasons that guys are not winning in the game of life, who's in your foxhole? You see, you come to a meeting like this, where we're beginning to discuss what it means to win in the game of life. And you have a chance to make some discoveries along the way. But who are you doing life with?
Yeah.
Who is your go-to guy when everything falls apart and a massive challenge comes down the pipeline? Well, listen, God dropped a guy in my lap by the name of James Sanders. I had a chance to meet his dad, T.C. Sanders. Came and dropped James off, and we just hit it off. Good chemistry, a lot of things in common. Now, because I didn't have much of a social life, you know, with a bunch of guys, I really didn't date a whole lot in high school either. So when I go to college, my roommate, he was a Casanova. I said, listen, I'm going to be a caddy for you, so I kind of take some notes of what this thing looks like. Because somewhere down the pipeline, you know, Mrs. Wright's going to come along. So I'm going to learn from you some experiences. He dates Miss Michigan in the freshman year. Things are rolling along, making some good headway. Come summertime, she said, hey, enjoyed it. See you next year. But the old flame back home, he just is going to win the battle. So he lost out on Miss Michigan. Summertime came along. We got back for the sophomore year. Here comes Miss Kentucky. And I thought, hey, she's probably a better match. At first, but she's got high maintenance. You gotta watch out for the drama queens and the teenage guys, okay? Once the drama queen, always the drama queen, okay? So, in his case, I was kind of happy for it. Less drama. The Kentucky girl, she's salty earth like a lot of you guys, okay? Hey, I know as a son of the South, you know, I can close my eyes and I can just smell the salt, okay? I can feel the salt. How you receive me, how you welcome me. I go to other parts of the country, you know, though they are very nice and welcome me, it's not like the Southern hospitality. It's something unique that's a part of our culture. And so I thought Kentucky was going to be a winner. But you know what? She got to the second semester, and even though James is a great guy, she said, you know what? I'm going to ride off to the sunset too. So I thought, hey, well, 2 strikes, Dave. You're supposed to be teaching me how this works, you know? I'm about to get on base. I can't be seeing a guy strike now. He comes back for a junior year. Here comes Miss Ohio. Miss Ohio is, a good match for him. Things are marching along, and she gets to the place of saying after a number of months, James, I love you. I just need some time to see if I want to marry you. You're still on the board. You're still in play. I just need to make sure about that. And so anyway, I'm taking notes on all this. So it's kind of fun to not just go through and choose a vocational path and see what our future might be, but also kind of watch what's going on socially in his life. Well, I got in the game my junior year as well. And I found me a Miss Ohio. Now I'm walking in pretty rookie, inexperienced. Kind of like somebody told me outside, they said they were so happy. I think it was the brother right here. He said he enjoyed the game against us in the Peach Bowl. About 10 years ago, we had C.J. Spiller. Tommy Bowden was our coach. And we were ranked number 9 in the country. The Sabinator's second year, he had not yet gotten what he wanted to have happen. But his players started coming to the door, and he had all summer long We watched that videotape. And I said, listen, I don't like what I see. Tommy Bowden is a great Christian man, but our players are a little bit soft. Sabanators out there, all your 47,000 coaches watching film off-site and on the coaching staff, feeding him all that stuff. And we walked in there, and your Mack trucks took our little pickup trucks and just ran all over. And it was embarrassing. We didn't belong on the same field. We watched those press clippings all summer long. And that was kind of really his first major victory. And the program obviously has taken off the races since then. And so you never want to play the first game of the year. Now last week, those boys from Louisville, hey, they've been jaw-jacking out there. They want a piece of it. Their receiver said, y'all can't cover us. I'm thinking, dude, what are you blowing at until they win for? That's the last thing those guys need to hear. So Bobby Petrino, he's a good offensive coordinator, but I don't see them staying on the field with you guys. So you see, the inexperience of my Tigers set us up for defeat. So it was in my social life. I thought, you know what, I've been taking notes. I'm going to go the opposite of Mr. Casanova. I mean, he's done struck out twice. He can't get the third one to take the ring. I'm going to go in my direction. That was unwise. Okay? I didn't retain some valuable lessons. So I had this big storybook romance. Oh man, we're just going to be in great shape. The problem was, sometimes when you marry a woman, you also marry your mother. In my case, you know, that's where my drama was coming from. And so we got engaged, and then she went home to get ready for the wedding. You know, great girl, you know, God's given her a great life since then. But her mother came in and called a big time out. And I got to be a big dear John. And the rain came washing back up on the shoreline. Crushed my heart. Oh, man. I was sitting there telling my roommates, "Say, you still waiting, buddy? All in the dates, all that money you done spent. Look here. Storybook romance. We get ready to go wrap it up. We're both getting married that summer, you know. He was pre-engaged. You know, I'm engaged. And guess what? I'm sovereignly disengaged. That's my story. Laura, my wife, my Southern Belle, Chattanooga, Tennessee, she was here to say, he got dumped. That's what she tells the story. So listen, guys, that's the next thing on the calendar. What was that romantic life like? You went into a situation where a broken relationship took place. How'd you learn some lessons from that? Or maybe you made it through the first time around. So what is the memory in that scenario? That was a significant value in our manhood across the way. So when I get dumped, or sovereignly disengaged, then to what story teller give you the answers? Plan B was this Southern Belle from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Anybody ever been to Chattanooga, Tennessee? Okay, beautiful place, Lookout Mountain. My father-in-law, he was the head of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And so he was in charge of all those exhibits up there. They had a chance to be involved in. And they had adopted a young baby girl at 21 days of age. Her name was Candace Lane. And so I began to get to know her, and I was actually going to kind of date her to kind of fill the void until I got back to Plan B, back in Charlotte. I was going to be graduating from college, and I thought, hey, there was somebody out there on the horizon I was ready to get to know, but I really enjoyed being around Candy. So I didn't really see something seriously happen in a couple of months, but the opposite took place. We went out for what? A steak dinner. You see, one of my players, his dad was the general manager of the local Western system. So I got a coaching card. So I didn't tell her I had some complimentary meal. I said, hey, honey, order the top T-bone on the menu. So she said, I was a high roller. You know, taking her to Western Citizen. Now, that's not a place you go to today. You go to Big Mike's. But it was something kind of like that in my era. So we went out, and hey, there's more than sparks. There was a big flame going. It wasn't a rebound situation. It was like, you know, I was Mr. Inexperienced, and I could learn that situation. Now get into this situation. She's not brand new to me, okay? I've had a friendship with her, and all of a sudden now, there's more than meets the eye. So, 6 months fast track, July 4th, 1980. Hey, brother, it was great to see God bring her into my life. And guess what? 38 years later, I'm proud to tell you this. The good news is the fireworks are still going off. That's an important part of what's going on. That's fireworks. But listen, at 60 years of age, it takes a little bit longer to light the fuse. But I have a wife with a fun-loving life of the party. I'm a passionate guy, focused, you know, trying to see men winning the game of life. And she takes care of my balloons. And she's loaning me out to travel the country, challenge guys. She has a group of ladies that we prayed over this group tonight. For each of you that she'll never meet this side of heaven. But she's longing to see one man. We always pray, God, will you just touch one man? And as a result of that, eternity can be changed. as well as a family on this earth and others in that community. Because when men get it right, everybody wins. And the Lord allowed me to get it right the second time around. And as a result of that, it's been a great ride. The next question is for those of you that have been fathers. The name of your firstborn child. I talked to mine on the phone before I came here today. Told her I was going to tell you this story tonight. Back in those days, we didn't have sonograms. So a year into our marriage, our wife gets pregnant. And I'm longing to have a son. My game plan was son first, daughter second. One of these. You know, some of these people, friends of mine, have large families. That's great. Anybody been in a family with over 8 kids? Right here? How many total?
Well, 8.
Okay, 8. Good.
8, yeah.
Anybody can beat 8 tonight? Right here. Okay.
11.
11. Wow. Good job. So those multiple children families, they have their own reunion. They don't do the rest of the family. That one branch of the tree makes a whole big reunion. We need to hold school out to beat those guys. But I was kind of looking for a son and a daughter in that order. But you know, our plans are not always his plans.
That's right.
And so we were praying for number one, for a healthy delivery. So September the 25th, 1981, a redheaded little girl pops out. And the first thing my wife says, she looks up to me, she says, "Are you disappointed?" And I said, "Honey, no, I'm not disappointed." I said, "You know, I'm longing for a healthy child, and God has blessed us with a daughter."
That's right.
In those days, it's a little bit different than it was today. You went to these things called Lamaze classes for about 6 weeks. You guys ever have to go to those things? Oh my gosh, all them pillows and stuff. I ain't alive. Give me the clip of it, okay? Give me something online and watch. Anyway, we were considerate. We were there in the room. The builder generation often would be left in the room, much less participate. But I stood in that hospital elevator to ride up to where the nursery was. And at 3:49 on a Friday, September 25th, 1981, those big, bright eyes looked up to me and said, "Aren't you going to love me, even though I'm a little girl?" And immediately, Christy girl entered my world. She's got her mom's fun-loving personality. She's got her dad's organizational skills. We were talking this afternoon as she called me to check in on what's going on. And just a fantastic ride to be her father. God then blessed us with a son later on, and certainly have experienced the time with him. He enjoyed roller coasters. And so we spent time going all over the country to various amusement parks. So your next question is the firstborn child in your life, for those of you that were dads. Now, much like maybe you experienced a father's wound, some of you also may have had a challenge in your fatherhood. All of us want to be difference makers. And as a result of that, we're striving to help men win at home. And oftentimes when we don't get it right, let's look back to the next occasion and to go forward and see that take place. But fatherhood is a big part of your life. We move next to go towards third base of this whole concept to Hartsville, South Carolina. And in Hartsville, South Carolina, we spent 3 years with a very godly man who was a very big influence on my life. He passed away at age 9 a couple years ago, and I was asked to come back and do the eulogy for him. Milton G. Frazier. The godliness of this man who walked the walk. Okay? I've been around people talk the talk. Some of you guys are deep church here tonight. This is a target audience for some of you guys. You have seen people who, hey, spoke it, but they didn't live it. Okay? We've all seen those people. We've all been those people. But you see, God is longing for us to go out there and live out this faith. And to know that the Christian life is a series of new beginnings. Amen. This guy had been involved on the staff for 30 years. He said, "Listen, Coach, you got lots of ideas, you got a lot of passion. I'll welcome all those ideas, and we'll look forward to serving God together." I'll always appreciate those 3 years of service with Milton G. Frazier and the tremendous influence he was in my life. So my next question for you is, who was a mentor who impacted you greatly? Somebody outside of your family, somebody who came alongside, took you under their wings, began to teach you the ropes. Now, if you don't have one, you put NA, non-applicable. These questions I'm asking you tonight, you know, some of you have kind of a checkerboard. Some of these things will apply. My first car, my firstborn child, I didn't bring it down. I had a mentor. I want you to look back later on and say, hey, is that a gap in my story that needs to be addressed that will help me win in the game of life? So as you take your own inventory, this is a chance for you to grasp that as well. And also, I had some guys come down from Prattville, Alabama today. We had some guys come down from Prattville before. They couldn't stay for tonight. They're going to return and come again. Anybody ever been to Prattville or from Prattville here? Okay, good. Had some fellows come out today. I've met online, been coaching in that way. But it's totally different when I meet you face to face. And so I said, hey, will you come down? We'll have lunch together, meet the gang from Ironworks, and we'll talk shop and have a chance to be involved in your life. But I said, send me the questions you want to talk about during our discussion. And one of the questions was this: what's the best advice you've ever been given? And I shared this with him today, that a man told me in 1986, the Christian life is a series of new beginnings, and what I've already shared with you. And I've passed that on to thousands and thousands of men over these years. And I share that with you tonight. And so, to win the game of life, in baseball terms, we're not going to bat 1,000. We're not going to be undefeated. But that's all I'm to see, that there's a new series out there. We moved to Winter Haven, Florida, 87 to 96. Anybody ever been to Cypress Gardens? That was the original Florida attraction. Before Walt Disney comes in, if you've never studied the history behind how they bought up that land, some private investors came in, and he bought 8 acres, and he bought 20 acres, and he bought 14. They never told him what was going to happen, because they got the cheap land. And then boom, the Magic Kingdom #2 comes out of the ground. But before that, Cypress Gardens was the big attraction. Esther Williams swimming pool in the shade of the state of Florida. You ever been there, Gator? Good. So I lived in Winter Haven, Florida for 9 years. That's where our son was born. He loved trains. He loved coasters. And so that's where we spent time. So you guys as dads, do you leverage hobbies that your kids enjoy, or do you try to force them into your own hobbies? Now, the things that my dad enjoyed, I enjoyed experiencing with him. I didn't have that conflict in that regard. My brother got the mechanical gene from my dad. I'd be his helper when he's changing brakes. He's an old shade tree mechanic. You don't see those guys much anymore. So I'd be out there as a helper with him, but my brother, he actually knew all that kind of stuff. And so that exposure, that experience is helpful along the path. And so for me, it was crucial to do that. So, if you have 2 children, particularly your son, what was the first thing that he enjoyed that you experienced with him? Me, it was building a nice wooden train set as a young toddler boy. As he would stand over the track and watch the train go around the station. So, your firstborn child, in my case it was the daughter, and then a son. What is a childhood memory as a father that you think back and say, wow, I can capture that moment? After 9 years in Florida, one of the last things we did was go to a large men's conference that met in a stadium in Tampa, Florida with 50,000 men. And my next question for you is this: what's the largest gathering of men that you've ever experienced? For some of you guys, it's going to be this gathering, okay? And so give me an estimate on the number. 1.4 million men later were gathered at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., one of the top 5 greatest days of my life. And that was a fascinating experience, but it started in a stadium in 1995, right when I was going to leave Florida and come back to my home state of North Carolina and be involved in the next chapter in my life. That was an amazing experience to be with 50,000 men who were longing to get it right. As I mentioned to you earlier, this is such a unique venue. Please don't take this for granted. I was polling some of you guys out there earlier tonight. Let me find out from you exactly right now. This ministry has been meeting for 4 years. Approximately. Those of you who have been coming all 4 years, if you'll stand, please. Where's my perfect attendance people for these last 4 years? You've been coming most of the time for these 4 years. A couple guys, okay? Let's give it up for them. Hey, War Eagle, where do you live? What city?
Floral.
Floral, okay. And over here? Okay. Okay. By the way, I was telling these guys today, so I forgot this Florella, Florida, Alabama. So I'm looking for Tunity. Where's Tunity, Alabama? You got Opp, you got Tunity. But I hear Mr. Opp, that's what was named after him, so you're good to go. Yeah, I won't get messed up on that one. You've been coming 3 years, approximately. 3 years. These are our 3-year guys. Let's get up for these guys, okay? 3 years. 2 years. You've been coming for half the meetings that have been happening. For the last 2 years, you've been participating at some level, okay? 2-year guys, let's get up for them. And sometime in the last year, you began to join this group on Thursday nights, once a month, at some occasion. This is your first year to be a part of this, okay? Let's welcome them tonight. Is there anybody here for the very first time tonight? I don't want to embarrass you. I just want to recognize you. Anybody here for the first time? Would you stand, please? Okay? Let's welcome these first time. Now, hey, they have a lot of major leaguers that run through here, so I want to make sure you show back up. We're playing single A baseball tonight, okay? If you get by me, it gets better. So you guys come back. But it's a fantastic gathering. I highly applaud it. We need tons of these all across America. Where's Dan Olson Jr. at tonight? Is he in here? You guys stand, everybody. There's a buddy of mine in Prescott, Arizona, about an hour north of Phoenix. And he has a group like this called the Men of Prescott. They meet up in the Red Rock country. And I thought, man, Dan Olson flew in to hang out with me tonight. He looks just like it. So he was willing to take that moniker. So if you ever get to Arizona, look up Dan. He does a great job. There's a group in Kokomo, Indiana. It's called the Kokomo Huddle. They meet midday. I've had a chance to go and speak to those guys. Big YMCA, an older building. Looks like they played Hoosiers in it a long time ago. Gene Hackman in the movie. And fantastic guys from all over the place. Target audience, same as you guys, okay? It's not all church guys. It's some unchurched guys, some deep church guys. And again, as I mentioned earlier, hear this loud and clear. Hey, we're just all regular Joes. We're not holy Joes. Yeah. We want you to join us on this journey to biblical manhood. We long to see you experience some of the things that we've learned that the Christian life is a series of new beginnings. But this could be the largest men's gathering you've been a part of. Or maybe you went to some of those stadium events that others of us did along the way. That's a great memory to look back to. Two final thoughts. We'll wrap this up. I was sitting in these stadiums. I went to 22 of those conferences. We gathered at the National Mall with 1.4 million men. But I was sitting in those stadiums thinking, wow, as fantastic as this experience is, what are we going to do the other 51 weeks of the year? Now, where's our guys? Stand if you went to the conference a couple weeks ago at the arena. Stand up, the conference guys. Okay? I want to just talk to you fellas for a second. Okay? These guys are standing just to experience more than a one-night setting. They had a chance to experience a full weekend. Multiple speakers, lots of hang time. Your tailgate parties are well-renowned. Fantastic experience. Job well done. But I'm going to tell you guys for standing. It's on God's watch to draw us to the fire. It's on our watch to learn how to rekindle the flame. Now, it's good that you're back here a couple weeks later. And you can be seated. And you'll probably return next month on the third Thursday. But yearly to monthly is still not enough interaction. Again, these foxhole friends that must meet on a more regular basis, you've got to find a couple guys you're going to do life with. And so my college roommate that I met in Mesquite, Texas, two coaching buddies that I met in the early days of my marriage, the three of us do life together. If you don't find some guys you're going to do life with, I'm telling you, your batting average is going to be far lower than it could be. And so, you come here to rekindle the flame, you come here to recharge your batteries, but there's a 30-day increment out there, and the old evil one's hanging out there behind the ambush, knowing you're at risk there to take you out. He's going to say, that was good you came to the pep rally. That was okay you listened to the Carolina Yahoo. But guess what? I'm going to take you out next Thursday. I'm going to take you out next Friday. He's out there laying wait for us. So we're going to have some guys we can do life with. Okay? And even when we don't get it right, we still recognize that God's amazing grace that brought us to Himself will also be God's transforming grace. Yeah. We come back and say, Father, you know what? Hey, as my old baseball players would say, Coach, E5. My shortstop had great range, but sometimes his glove was a little shaky. And so the official scorer's got to make a determination what that looks like. But don't think that God's like that little small town in South Carolina, McBee, South Carolina. We drive from Charlotte to Myrtle Beach, down there where my grandparents' farm was. And there's a sign in this little small town outside of Florella that says, big old finger pointing at you, this 4-bay sheet of plywood. Watch your speed. There's a Barney Fife there. He's got one bullet in his gun. He likes to write tickets. So if you ever go to Myrtle Beach to McBee, Highway 151 in the Sand Hills of South Carolina, you better watch your speed. Because that does mean something. But every time I drive by that, sadly, some of you guys that have been deep church, you saw a lot of finger pointing. And they said, you ain't good enough. Man, you're slack. They're not saying the Christian life is a series of new beginnings. They're not looking to encourage you. They want to beat you down. Hey, we're here to build you up.
Yeah,
okay?
that's right.
And we're looking to see, guess what? God's going to welcome you back. And His transforming grace will become His sustaining grace.
Amen.
But it's crucial to have significant gatherings like this. This is good where you participate, but to go to great. Find some guys you can do life with. There's two guys here tonight that I've enjoyed building relationships with. I'm going to invite Scott Overby and Steve Miller up here. One's from Louisiana and one's from Montgomery. These are guys that I've had a chance to cross paths with over the last decade. They're out there challenging men to do the same thing that I am. And this has been fantastic to have these guys a part of my life. I have a chance to gain some tremendous insights. Scott sent me a message earlier this week. Hey, Coach, I'm praying for you. I'll be down there. I'll be cheering you on. And we took a picture out by the sign tonight. And he once again reminded me of that. And I want you to know how much I appreciate that. Hey, this dude here, Morgan City, Louisiana. Hey, he came the furthest of anybody. But you know why he came over here? Though he appreciates and knows a lot about you guys. That's a long haul. He came to pick me up at the airport. Left early in the morning, 5 o'clock. Got me in Pensacola yesterday at 1. You know why? Because for 10 years we've been doing life together. It started with disaster relief down the Gulf Coast. It started with us coming to men's conference. Leaders of men like you. We got to come and trade some baseball cards, you know, and go back and challenge our guys. So both of these fellows are out there coaching their players. Then we have these coach-to-coach meetings, trade some baseball cards. How can we become more effective? You see, even leaders have got to have some go-to guys. And I so value these fellows. But I'm just telling you know, how much I appreciate a guy to come over 5 hours and be my stagecoach driver. We're leaving going to Dothan tomorrow. There's some more men to be challenged like you on Saturday morning. And that's what he signed up for. Let's give it up. So to summarize my time with you this evening, this is not my story, it's God's story. God is the ultimate hero of your story. He's the ultimate hero of mine. But you know what? God has chosen to work in and through human flesh. He wants to come and reign supremely in your life. If you don't know Him here tonight, that's step number 1. To understand, hey, I'm not talking about buying fire insurance a long time ago at the church house. I'm talking about having really experienced a true life-changing heart transformation. And with your at-risk area, we're not trying to clean your act up. We're not trying to turn you guys into good boys around here. Guess what? Though the Christian life is a series of new beginnings, it's not about behavioral modification, it's about heart transformation.
Amen.
And as a result of that, we see what Jesus calls a disciple of Christ is a pupil, a student, and a learner. There are some men in this room here tonight. I see them all across America. They are pledged Christians. They would say they're on the way to heaven. But they're those guys that hit that spiritual time clock on Sunday. Monday through Saturday, as it was in the early days in my household with my father, that belonged to him. He had not fully surrendered. He was not a fully devoted follower. And so you see, to get to that point, you've got to have some chances for guys to sharpen your iron. You've got to have some chances to see some ministry being equipped and do some kingdom networking to go forward in your faith. In closing, when I turned 60 years of age, I looked back and I thought about my mentor that I mentioned to you from South Carolina. He passed away at 90. I did his eulogy. When he was 80 years of age, I asked him, could I have a Barnabas luncheon with you, which is the highlight of my ministry day, to spend a one-on-one time with a guy. I came out of a pastor's home, and I've been a men's pastor. I didn't share that with you earlier, because some of you unchurched or de-church guys would probably turn me off. But I hope by now you recognize we're just a regular judge. We're trying to figure it out as well. But you see, I appreciate my heritage. I appreciate what God's allowed me to do. And so again, I awaken every day to see God draw men to the fire, and then to teach them how to rekindle the flame. When my mentor was 80 years of age, I said, I would like to come and have a Barnabas luncheon with you. I'd like to hear what are your top life lessons from 8 decades of living. He shared those with me. When he passed away, he had Alzheimer's. And so I shared what he told me 10 years prior to that. And I adopted that mindset when I turned 60 this year. When I turned 50 a decade ago, I decided to do a reverse birthday card. Instead of receiving cards, I sent them out. For the whole year, from 49 to 50, who are the 50 impact players in my life? To use a coaching analogy. And And I wrote them all a personal note thanking them for investing in my life. One of the most rewarding, enriching experiences I've ever been a part of. At age 60, I decided to say, okay, what are my life lessons? My mentor's gone to heaven to be with the Lord. Some of us now in our generation have got to take the baton and run with it. Here's my 6 lessons as I close out my time with you tonight. And let's talk about mentors, the best advice you've ever been given. I want you to give me one life lesson, wherever you are in your stage of the journey, 12 to 82. You give me one life lesson as you reflect on this, so you hear my 6. Number 1, God alone is most worthy of my adoration. You see, my father began to impress upon me some spiritual observations. August 31st, 1964, we're riding into the Belmont Park Baptist Church in the backseat of a 1964 Royal Blue Chevrolet Impala. I leaned up on the back of those seat belts back in those days on that bench seat, and I said, Dad, could just any man be saved? Because you see, God had been drawing me to himself. And all of a sudden the flame was starting to spark. As a 6-year-old boy, being exposed to some of the things of God, gladly the Lord brought me to himself as a young lad. And throughout my life, God alone is most worthy of my adoration. The second lesson, prayer huddles are my most important and rewarding activity. That's what I'm getting ready to do with you in a moment. You guys close out with Amazing Grace, but I'm going to include a prayer huddle with you tonight. No man is an island, no man stands alone. Some of you, we had a chance to interact with briefly out there, shook a lot of your hands, got to give you some attaboys come to the line. So most people I've had a touch with tonight. But the most important touch is to put hands on men's shoulders to let them know we're going to journey through this life together. We're going to lock arms, close shields, and be there as foxhole friends. Man in Burlington, Vermont told me earlier this year at this conference, Coach, I had a foxhole friend when I was in the military, but I can't find such a man in the church world. Is that on me, or is that on us? So I ask you tonight, as you go soldier through life, have those foxhole friends. And when I'm with my foxhole friends, prayer huddles are my most rewarding activity. The third lesson of 6, treasured family is my most valuable asset. Queen of my castle, we walk 3 miles a day. Enjoy the opportunity to be out there doing a prayer walk together. Again, she's the fun-loving life of the party. You know, lets me have guys over the man cave. Lets me go down to Clemson. She goes once a year with me for the season. She's actually Tennessee Bob, by the way. But she's kind of a casual fan. She knows who the players are, what the scores are, you know. Not the first quarter, she's kind of gassed out. We're playing West Virginia, by the way, in Tennessee. First game of the season in Charlotte. So she's anxious to go, just to put her gear on and go. She won't know who won in the game. That's just kind of So I don't take her to play Texas A&M. I don't take her to play Florida State, brother. This is serious business, you know. I take her to see play Furman or Coastal Carolina, okay? So I know I don't need her to coach my defensive back. We'll be in good shape with that. But it's a shared experience, and it's important. But cherish your family. I've learned so many valuable lessons from my kids that taught to me along the way. Those of you that have a Father's Day, I'll tell you a lesson that my son taught me about that. 3rd grade, leaves his homework project at home. I get up and go to the church office, and I see the homework project he's been working on for about a week. Do that day. He's gone off and left it there, staying up late at night to put the finishing tabs. What the last minute assignment? He's been working on a long time. But there it was. I thought, I've got to go take that and drop it off at school. Drive to school, go to the office. He comes walking down the long hallway, which is like that 3rd room back there. And there's a big smile on his face. And he says, I knew that you would come. And well, I was glad to give my son his homework project. I said, Father, I know that you will come. Amen. God wants to come and minister to men. Healing, hope, longing for the future. Knowing Him and making Him known. Treasured family is my most valuable asset. Foxhole friends are my most intentional associations. What do we call our ministry the intentional way? Because many people have good intentions, but few people practice intentionality. Some of you guys said, oh man, I forgot to wear my jersey tonight. I'm trying to call you guys out, not because I'm better than you. Hey man, maybe same minute. I'll bow down. You're the champions, okay? But listen, I'm a foxhole loyalist. I'm not ashamed to wear my gear down here. And so, be willing to have some healthy pride. But some of you forgot to do that. You got to be intentional with a few of your work. Coaching men is my most important assignment. We won 4 state championships. Where's my baseball player back here? Right with me again? There you go. Come up here a second. What's the first name again?
Garrett.
Garrett, okay. Baseball state champion, Andalusia High School. By the way, y'all's logo looks like Arizona Wildcats. So make them more Alabama looking next time. So this guy's won a championship. Now, 20 years from now, like my players, we get together, have reunions, and we talk about what it was like. See, to cut the nets down in basketball. I had a center field. It was 4-2. Bottom of the seventh. Played 7 innings back in those days. You guys still do that. Bases are loaded. Balls hit out the gap, and my center fielder made a basket catch. That ball gets by. We're losing the game 5-4. But he wins. We win the game on his 2-out catch in center field. That's going to mean a lot to you 20 years from now. But you know what, guys? God is looking for some championship caliber Christians.
That's
And
right.
I hope this young man right here will become a championship caliber Christian. He'll see in the lives of you men that even when you don't get it right, you're still longing to realize that Christian life is a series of new beginnings. You're longing to invite foxhole friends into your world. And as a result, his generation will see there is a man of God who's been with Jesus. And he has a desire to impact me in that regard. I would pray that you would see how God will reveal to you you can win in the game of life. And all the men of God said.
Amen.
And then finally, and I'll share this with you. Read this last one to the guys.
Finishing well is my most desirable ambition.
We took my mother to my dad's grave a couple months ago. My father passed away on January 21st of the year 2000. He prayed a prayer blessing me 18 years ago. Son, though I was a pastor, 4 churches, my dad was a building project guru. He said, I spent far too much time building buildings. I should have spent far more time building the lives of men. So my prayer blessing on my final day on this earth is that God would use you to come to places like the old schoolhouse and to give hope for young men from ages 12 to 82 so they can win the game of life. I want to finish well. So we asked my mom, Mom, what are we going to put the National Cemetery mark? You only get a couple words, right? The military guys know that. She said, at home now. I was videotaping behind her when she was saying this. I had no clue that's what she was going to say. I thought she'd just think about it. I was just videotaping the experience. I'm going to play that one day, unless the Lord calls us home first. I'm going to play that in a memorial service at the very end of the day. Here's Mom's final words. When Jesus was on this earth, he gave us one final command. Go to all the old schoolhouses you could find. Go to all the men of Prescott in Arizona. Go to all the Kokomo prayer huddles and have a chance to reach all these 5 generations for God. Even when life gets tough and things aren't going our way, guess what? The post-Judeo Christian era, when God's people and centuries before, when we had the times got tough, we found out who the real McCoys were. And there's no reason for nominal Christianity to exist any longer. If we're going to be a championship caliber Christian, what we say at Clemson, let's be all in. So I pray that you'll be all in your Christian walk, and that you men will be all in. We will finish well. For me, it involves 3 things: vision, passion, and intentionality. Would you stand with me, please? I'm going to pray over you men, because they're going to come and close out officially. But what I want you to do, if we were in a full-scale gymnasium, we'd make a big circle and for having a prayer hall. We've got a tight squeeze. You guys and those other places, I'd like to do this as well. But I'd like you to turn and face each other across the tables instead of facing me. I want you to put your arms out on the guys beside you, shoulder to shoulder. I want to hold my wife's hand. I want to hold her hand. Y'all come on in and join us, okay? Y'all come on be a part of this. Slide them down so we don't have any gaps. Let's pray together. Father, shoulder to shoulder, we long to encourage our brothers. Thank you that we've been fed tonight a fine steak. And we can taste and see that the Lord is good. We affirm that the Christian life is a series of new beginnings. We long to know you and to make you known. Help us to finish well until you call us home. Help us to reach out
Help us to reach out
to hurting brothers
to hurting brothers
who need hope
who need hope
and are longing
and are longing
for the relationships we have.
for the relationships we have.
We can invite them
We can invite them
to this gathering
to this gathering
or others
or others
so they can also experience
so they can also experience
your wonderful love
your wonderful love
and your amazing grace.
and your amazing grace.
No man is an island.
No man is an island.
No man stands alone.
No man stands alone.
And when men get it right,
And when we get it right,
everybody wins.
everybody wins.
And all the men of God said.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jeff. Let me take one couple minutes. Chris, you got anything you want to say? All right, well, let me just, I wrote down a few things, just so I won't forget. Crossover guys, don't forget, there's food. There's gallons of tea on the table. If there's tea left at your table and you want to take that gallon with you, please do, so we don't want to leave it here. Something I thought about is if you want to be a part of the old school business meeting team and help with some of the things around here, see me before you leave, and we'll talk about that more. Next month, September 20th, Birdie Kroll will be here, so get the word out. Hope to see you back. And then also, we got the toolbox over here. If you want to, and we don't charge anything, we don't want to charge anything, but if you want to help to offset the cost, please do that. So let's sing. If you got cards, also you can put those in the toolbox when you go. And I think Chris is holding the mic. He's ready to lead us in Amazing Grace.
Watch already, you already stand up. All right, ready?
Amazing